Game number 3, Socke down 2 maps. He has to win it on Ohana if he wants to advance, if he wants to have another shot 3 games in a row. That's what he has to pull off to advance to the final.
It's not going to be easy, I think, is the moral so far of this series. And, well, if anyone can do it, let's see if Socke, with Grubby's power and mind behind him, can help.
His opponent to the bottom left, top right actually, top left, throwing everything away. We have the Protoss player in blue, the Korean player down. Oh. You do this, Apollo, come on. I am apparently just throwing it away.
In the top left, he goes by the name of LG IEM's First.
Apollo to save the day with introduction for the Korean player, and now we have the German at the bottom, right in red. It is IEM Socke.
Socke for the win. Socke, the European hope. The 2 signs within the crowd, both are true. He is the last non-Korean in this tournament now. The rest of the tournament has been dominated by the traveling Koreans here, the Intel Extreme Masters, once again. Every tournament for a very long time at the Intel Extreme Masters has been won by a Korean. Socke can stop that pattern if he can stop IEM's First here.
He has to pull off an incredible comeback if he wants to make this work. At this point, what can he do against First? First, very, very stable play in all of these games so far. And Ohana is a map that I really enjoy a lot in PvP series. As mentioned with at our analysis desk, we have a lot of potential for very, very different builds. You can go for so many different strategies on Ohana, can go into this expansion. And especially in Korea, we've seen so many Protoss versus Protoss matches on this map. In the WCS Korea qualifier, for example, where Creator, Parting, First, and all these players have shown amazing strategies. Will we see an expansion play? Are we going to see a Stargate? We're going to find out right.
I think Socke is going to play more defensive this time. I don't think he's going to try anything aggressive. It could be either a fast expand or a mortal expand, or robotic facility expand, should I say. On the other hand, though, I have a feeling that First is going to be playing Stargate this time. Knowing that Socke is going to be on the back foot, First is probably, I hope so, going to open up with Phoenixes, and then we'll play a macro version of it. Not so much an all-in, but to look to expand himself here. He's already got the Zealot and the Sentry on the way, and it seems maybe this First is going to open up, like I think.
And Socke is opening up with a double Zealot and then Stalker, adding the second gateway already, and you can see that he was hiding one of his Zealots. He moved it to the bottom left and is now trying to sneak it to the top left, trying to just harass First without him expecting it, because right now the Korean player doesn't really know about this timing.
Yeah, and he immediately puts down a gateway upon seeing both of Socke's gateways being chrono boosted out here, so he actually did catch a glimpse of that Zealot. He should have definitely seen it there.
Yeah.
And Socke is going to be putting a bit of pressure on here, and with the amount of probes he's got in gas, most likely just going to expand behind this. But looking to put the pressure on, making sure First isn't too greedy. He's got a Zealot, 2 Sentries, and a Stalker on the way. He does have force fields available, but how long will they last?
The thing is, if First doesn't see the Zealot, he might just expect that there's nothing that can endanger him. So if he doesn't pay attention to his ramp and the Stalker the Zealot is able to walk up the ramp, you can pressure those Sentries so much. But now First is already in his alert mode. He knows that there's something is coming, and he has the Sentries there. He's going for the force fields. The 2 Zealots are in the main base, cut off here. He takes down one of his opponent's Zealots already and tries to force those Sentries back, but with a good micro, First will be able to not only place down another force field, but also kill the Zealot, and that was a close one.
Just squeezed that in there. He does have another force field available, and he's adapted his build. Oh no! Oh, I can't believe that actually happened!
How did that happen? That's the main question here. The Zealot squeezing past the force field and suddenly finds himself up against 3 of Socke's Stalkers.
Well, that was a little bit awkward, that was, but we do have an Immortal on the way here. Another force field planted down, and with the Immortal coming out, he will be fine once that's there. But there will be a bit of a time before it's out here. Socke is going to be able to burst through in a minute, but a Sentry does get walked in, so smart play here by First. One more force field, and that will keep him safe.
He was forced to warp these Sentries in because of the force field. He had to throw down the second one so fast. So at this point, Socke at least able to buy a lot of gas from his opponent. He's going into the expansion play. We have 5 Stalkers for Socke, 2 for First and the Immortal. The probe count a little bit in favor of the Korean Protoss player. whereas Socke now with a much faster expansion, still trying to apply some pressure, and what he's going to try here is just to contain his opponent and take down this expansion, delaying it for as long as possible.
Socke can easily cut that army out, cut it in half, can cut the Immortal out as well, but look at this,
oh wow,
Pylon and somehow squeeze himself in there, 2 Zealots, and Socke,
he sees it.
He does see it.
He sees it right away. Really important for him. Warps in 3 Zealots that will help him. But at the top left, does he see this army moving out? No, he does not. The force field is too late. But now he's focusing down his opponent's sentry, taking down all 3 of them, trying to snipe another Stalker, and he will be able to do it. Trying to trade here.
Good force field by Socke, keeping the Immortal close.
And he's able to take it down. Or will he? The sentries are in pursuit. The sentry would have been able to take down the Immortal. Here come the Stalkers though, finishing the job. But Socke has to move back. Right now his Harvester count is still down. He's at 24 to 28, but the expansion was so much faster. And first, he goes into the Robotics Bay here.
That's right, he's going playing from the Robotics Bay, can very easily all in off 1 base from this position here if he's going to look for their specific timings. Or we could see a Warp Prism come out. Either one, with speed of course, but the way that it seems to be, and I think it might be a Warp Prism, but we will check this out as Socke continues the containment.
You know, this was actually so incredible. First with this pylon in Socke's main base was able to distract Socke. Socke was just trying to contain first for as long as possible, using those force fields to cut the army off. And I was really blown away that he didn't use a force field from the start, that he waited so long. Then first moves down and Socke realized that it's already too late, focusing down the sentries of his opponent, also killing the Immortal, trading quite well here, could have been much worse, but at this point, the pylon that first had Alia and that Socke finally sees now, this is the one thing that first really had going for him, so well played sneaking that one in.
So it is going to be a Colossus push for first to try to punish the way that Socke is playing here. Socke will need to get a lot of Immortals out, will need to hold this. If he doesn't hold this, then it's going to be a 3-0 for first. He will move on as our first finalist here at the Intel Extreme Masters. The first Colossus is about out. Units are being warped in, and we're going to see the march across the map in a couple of moments' time. There's an observer that sees the exact composition of what Socke has, and he hardly has anything here.
He doesn't have the tech, and he's trying to get the units out to deal with this. He needs a few more Immortals as well, so this is really tricky. This tech advantage that first has, it's just him realizing, I can't get my expansion in time. My opponent already has a Nexus on his way. I have to do something different. I have to tech it up. Goes into the Robotics Bay, and now with the 1 base push, he has the tech advantage. And if he micros well, he can put Socke in a very difficult spot, as Socke doesn't have a lot to deal with this Colossus.
This could be a very difficult hold. First, of course, just waiting here, biting his nails, probably feeling rather confident at this point of the game, as he has a very strong push coming his way.
He's not the only one biting his nails here. Socke is the European hope in this tournament. Things don't look good for him. Can he hold? Can he pull a Tarzan?
We'll have to find out. He's going to need some of that Polish power if he's going to be able to hold this push. We're about to jump back into the game in a couple of seconds' time. Socke, can he hold on here?
He is focused and the game is live again. Socke now to the bottom right. Is supplier blocked? He needs a pylon. Pylon is just now finishing up, and immediately the Immortal is being started.
We're about to see the march across the map here. 59 supply to first 63. The observer watching, waiting, knowing exactly where and what Socke has. And here comes the push. The Colossus does not have thermal lands. We'll have to see good force fields here from Socke, splitting this army up. The Immortals must bring down the Colossus. And here comes one final warp in for Socke. A third Immortal can really change this battle.
And first is a little bit hesitant, waiting a little bit longer. He's not confident enough just yet, but he knows that Socke is way ahead in economy. Of course, the Protoss player from Germany not building any more probes. He's getting another Immortal. He tries to go for Immortal number 4, but here comes first, moving in now as we speak, dropping that pylon on the low ground. His observer still in the know. He sees everything here, and this is a strong army. A nice split by Socke, a nice Concave first is moving in.
And first, I don't think he may be able to break this. We're about to find out 3 Immortals. There's a lot of Immortals at this stage of the game. Socke's doing rather well here. His supply is so equal. Socke is pulling his probes to make sure he can hold on to this.
And Socke is getting another Immortal as well. He's trying to put pressure on his opponent's Colossus, but nice micro by first, even saving his Immortal here. So many Stalkers still available for first. He's in the lead in supply, and Socke is just trying to break through.
Another
The third
Immortal
is there. but can he really take down all these Stalkers and the Colossus? Those Zealots are chasing him back.
Yeah, the Zealots are chasing him back. 2 Immortals. Socke has 2 Zealots, 2 Immortals Sentry. A big warp hit again from first coming. The Colossus untouched here.
He's trying to take it down, and the Colossus is dead. He takes down the Colossus. First, still with so many gateway units, and Socke just trying to micro his heart out. All those Immortals trying to save themselves and take down the Stalkers, but first still has so many units. Can Socke buy himself some time for the next swap, and can he take first down here?
A lot more units are coming in here for first, and he does go a 9 supply ahead. The first Immortal's been targeted down, and it gets stuck. He goes down, and the next one could get stuck here as well.
There's the second Immortal now out though. He can't deal with those Stalkers with the Immortal. Socke so far, he holds, Socke holds, swapping in more units. The pylons are being attacked by first. He has only Stalkers at this point. Warps in Zealots to make up for that. And Socke trying to push down the ramp, trying to fight those Stalkers, but suddenly the force field.
The force field from first is pretty good there, cancelling out one of the Immortals, but look at that, Socke is pushing forward. The Immortal doing so much damage, he has to stay away from those 3 Zealots though. They're doing so much damage there.
The Immortal is down. Socke is losing the second one on the ramp. Is just able to get away. Only 1 hit point, 2 hit points, and another Immortal now in the game. But first, with a 15 supply lead, more and more Zealots for him and the Stalkers to make up for it. He pushes Socke into the base. Can Socke really hold again here? He's losing pylons already.
Yeah,
and first is
he does have a third Immortal about to come out though. If he can get to that third Immortal, things could easily change here. But the Zealots are a big problem. Socke has the force field well, and that's pretty good.
The force field is really easy. He's taking out those Stalkers. Socke once again on the move. He has a problem with the Zealots at the front. Another Immortal is down, but he gets another one from the Robotics. And here he takes down the Sentry. He takes down the Stalker. Socke holds again. First is throwing everything he has against the German.
He is, but the force field could be crucial there. That's a great force field by first. But all of a sudden, Socke is exposed to these Zealots. 3 Zealots chasing them down. The Immortals with no protection. That was a game-winning force field.
And there is the force field. He's trying to save the Immortals. He knows they are key. He's building more of them. Getting his own Zealots right now. Trying to move them down. What a battle. What a macro fight. Socke is fighting for his chances in this tournament.
He's trying to, and he escapes with the Immortal with just a couple of hit points left. But it just seems that first has too much income. He has more production coming in every cycle. Another Immortal goes down, and Socke's best chance was with 3 Immortals, and now I feel it may be too much.
He's chrono boosting his gateways. He's trying his best here, but look at this army for first. He has 5 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, getting now a pylon on the high ground to warp in units. Socke is pressured at so many fronts, trying to defend somehow, but first with an overwhelming army, dropping the force fields of death and focusing unit after unit. Zealots go down, both Sentries and Immortals, and it is over.
First claims a 3-0 and is the first finalist here of the Intel Extreme Masters. And well, Socke couldn't do it, unfortunately. But I feel a couple of times there, and of course Todd will be able to back us up with his experience as a professional Protoss player. Maybe Socke overextended in his defense a couple of times. Going down the ramp, was it necessary? Because if he was able to maintain and control his ramp with force fields, cutting up first army instead of first cutting up Socke's army, I think maybe we could have had a different result at the end of that game.
Yeah, maybe we could. I have to say though that his micro is really incredible. So many times those Immortals were pressured and he moved them back while still pursuing his opponents, weakened Stalkers. A great performance here by Socke in the last game, but it is first with a 3-0 in the best of 5, advancing to the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for first!
But who will face him next? Our next game on this stream is going to be Parting versus Dream. Parting will come back to your screen, and well, he was looking fantastic before, but before we get into that, we have a couple of pros to help us out, Caldor, to really understand, was it possible for Socke to handle that? Was it possible for him to win that game?
And we're going to find out right now. Let's head back to the analysis test here at IEM Katowice.
And with that, LG IEM first becomes the first finalist of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. It was a 3-0 series, the first 2 games really quick. The third one, back and forth. My voice has no hope of recovering because the screaming that I was doing, I really thought he could have held it there a few times. Was I wrong?
No, I definitely felt like Socke had very good chances at certain points in that game. I really like the way he opened with that contain, prevents his opponent from taking that early expansion, which eventually leads into first kind of forced decision to do a one base all in basically. He knows Socke has his expansion up. If first was to take his expansion after being contained for so long, he just would have been behind. So he goes for the only real play that he has, which is that big one base push. And then we go into one of the most exciting games we've seen all day.
Absolutely. Do we have some moments in the replay? Let's relive this epic adventure.
Yeah, apparently we have quite some time here, so I feel like doing a long recap of this replay.
Sure.
So let's start with the beginning. Socke, he opens with the 2 gates, and a big pressure here. He got a lot of units out. He reaches the bottom of the ramp off first. And first, I feel like he threw down this force field a bit too late. He should have trapped only 1 zealot. If you trap 2 zealots, you run the risk of maybe losing 1 sentry, and that's always very, very bad in here. This is pretty much what happened with this one stalker getting a lucky shot.
Oh wait, can we watch this? This was so weird.
After that, this
Can
one
you zoom in?
stalker, I don't know, man, he's like Rotterdam. He really wants to fight, so he went forward. And somehow, he found himself trapped behind enemy lines. He really wanted a piece of the action, and he could not resist. So
That was so weird.
yeah, but first, I feel like he was very fortunate to be on Robotech, because this is always good against this kind of gate pressure. As soon as you have one Immortal out, you can defend very easily, and then you have the option of doing an attack with either Immortals or Colossi, or both. And first, warping more sentries here, he really has to hold this as well as possible. He's going to be able to kill the pylon. Socke is just going to pull back for now. And Socke, he goes into Robo behind this, and he's going to throw down a Nexus, which I think is okay. But he really needs to keep in mind exactly what first might do now. And he wasn't aware of the Robo at this point, but since he kind of figured out that there was 2 gates, and no Phoenixes had been shown yet, he might have been, especially now he sees the expand, he should be able to figure out that there is indeed a Robo. And Socke, he has his first observer out. This is going to fly through there. Very, very fortunate here as well, because he spots those 2 zealots immediately. And that was very important what happened here. First, he sends those 2 zealots in the mineral line of Socke. What does everybody who has 2 walkers in his mineral line do? You look here and you defend. And in the meantime, this is always obvious. Like when this happens and you're doing a lockdown, as a Protoss player, you should always warp zealots quick and then come back here, because the opponent will almost always try to come down the ramp at the same time.
Yep.
And if you can get the good force field here, trapping only 2 units down there, this would have been almost game for Socke. But instead of that, first, you see he starts engaging here, and he's going to come down the ramp, which is a very, very, very risky move here. Socke not reacting on time, is just going to use a Quadrant Shield here. He ends up losing almost everything that he had. And this was a very huge loss here for Socke. He ends up killing this Immortal at least, and at this point, the game is, I feel like first has an advantage, even though Socke has this one Nexus, just because this Nexus might play against Socke basically. Because first he has a lot of options because of this Robo Bay. As Apollo pointed out, he could go either for Warp Prism Speed or a Colossi. And at this moment in the game, I put myself in first the shoes, and I thought, if I go for Warp Prism Speed, it will take such a long time to get. And if I fly in there, and there is Stalkers, how do you get out? It's just like when, was it Daisy? Somebody made a Warp Prism drop with sentries inside, and then he was trapped inside the Terran's base and lost everything. So definitely I feel like here Colossi is a better option, and that's exactly what first went for. Warping a couple Zealots here, trying to trap Socke's Zealots. Very well done by first this entire time, trying to buy himself more time.
Yep.
Socke, you know, we see Protosses in PvP when they see that they have an expand like this, and they are on Robo, and they know that their opponent's Expo is going to be late. They anticipate an all-in. They throw down a Robo Bay and they go for Colossi, so that force fields here won't affect the outcome of the fight. And also they just need a good concave here, and the Colossi can get a lot of good splash damage. But Socke, he went for the Immortal approach in this game. What this means is that Socke, he needs at least 5 Immortals here if he wants to be able to defend. Five Immortals in a concave here to defend against the Colossi attack. And I think he knew at this time that there was most likely an attack going to be coming. I mean, he did not really try to scout the expansion.
Sorry. just let me interrupt you for a sec. The Observer was flying into first natural earlier, and first Observer came down and killed it. So Socke his Observer was on the way, almost got to the natural, but didn't quite get there.
He didn't see the location of the natural, right?
Yeah, no, he didn't see whether or not there was a nexus there.
And now basically he takes the tower, and if he sees any unit coming his way, he can decide exactly what's headed for him. So now Socke, he sees the Colossi, he knows exactly what this is. He's going to pull back, he's going to try to get a good concave. And first, this is very important, he's taking the information of what Socke exactly has here. He sees 2 Immortals, a couple Stalkers, some Sentries, and now he has to decide what he's going to warp. And actually, I feel like he should go Zealot and Sentry heavy here, just because there is no Colossi. He could force field, he could split this army in half, not let anything escape, and basically crush this army. So I'm going to fast forward a bit here until we have the fight.
So you think Socke should have transitioned into Colossus instead of Immortals? He would have had an easier time holding all-in like this?
But he would have had, but the thing is, if he had done that, like made a Robo-Band go into quick Colossus without Immortals, and then first went for the Immortal War Prism speed, first would have been way ahead, because Socke wouldn't have had enough Stalkers and units to be able to defend very well against this. And first could have done a lot of damage with his War Prism speed behind this expand and be in a very good position. So first now he moves up the ramp, and he has 43 army supply to the 44 of Socke, but he has the 1 Colossi, which makes a big difference. So Socke cannot really force field, but first can, so he does some decent force field. He tries to trap some Immortals behind so that they can shoot on the Stalkers. And he just plays very well. You see, he pulls back his Zealots very well done here.
As a Socke, do you want to force field the Zealots like so that they can't run away and you can kill them all, or because obviously you can't force field on top of his army because of the Colossus.
Yeah, it might have been smart actually. But I guess the Colossi is always in range to just like step over the force fields and cancel them. And all those Immortals, they got some great shots on the Stalkers, first saving his Immortal with only 23 HP here. This was very close. I thought at this point the Socke might win actually. But the thing is, Socke, he's pulled probes during this fight, and he's gone down to 21 probe to the 28 of first. So first he's going to be ahead economically. If this attack works, or at least he stabilizes here, this is going to be a lot better for him if he can kill this expansion. But first, he went for the kill. He kind of misread the situation here. I felt he was trying to finish Socke when he did not have to. He killed so many probes, but he did not really think about it here. He's basically just trying to blindly finish the game, and he's going to lose his Colossi, which is a huge mistake. Because of that, he gave Socke a chance to maybe come back in this game. But even now, imagine first comes back, down this ramp, warps 1 Sentry, kills this Nexus, this probes. That would be 17 probes for Socke, 28 probes for first. He can just make a Nexus and he won. So he kind of misread the situation, really trying to finish Socke here. And Socke, I have to say, he had some sick micro with those Immortals. But in the end, first just had too much. Now we had like a fight that lasted like 5 minutes, where it was very intense. But even now what I said is still valid. He goes down the ramp, he warps 1 Sentry, 2 Zealots, he kills this Nexus and these probes. He's way ahead. He does not need to try to finish Socke like he's doing right now. But he wanted to, I guess.
Does that Sentry have enough energy for a force field?
Right when it comes in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes in with
the one that was there.
the Socke Sentry. Yeah, I think one of those force fields there was Socke's and one was first.
Oh, okay. You know what Blizzard should do, man? Here's my suggestion if they're listening, Blizzard. You should tint the force fields just a little bit in the player color so that we can see. Because I've been impressed by some of the first force field in the last game when he force fielded his Immortal inside so the Zealots couldn't get to it.
Yeah,
the first time I misread that, I thought it was a misclick.
That's a very good idea. Actually.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, because it was like Socke went up the ramp and then Socke force fielded the Immortal so it couldn't get away.
Yes.
And then first
force fielded it in the force field, which was brilliant.
So that
and
the
I almost
Zealots
didn't
couldn't
appreciate
attack
the brilliance because
it actually looks like Socke, why did you force field the Immortal away from the Zealots? But you're like, no, that's obviously not what happened.
Just say force fielded in the force field. He force fielded the force field.
Force field.
I don't know what I said.
So much force.
Blizzard, if you're listening, it's a good idea.
You should also tint scans.
You know, at this point I thought that actually Socke was going to win, just because of the Immortals. But Socke, he was too hasty here. But the thing is, he had to be. Because Socke is aware of his own economical situation here. He knows he's lost so many. Look at this saturation.
Yep.
It's so little. He has these 3 probes there, but if he leaves his expand to die, they will die. And Socke will be in a world of trouble. So he felt that he had to fight and really crush this army from first, but first always warping a Sentry when he had to, getting some great force fields. His Stalker micro was great as well. And I don't know, man, first, he's just so good.
Yeah, he looked very strong, very good strategic.
He's gunning for this title, man.
Well, do you know what's interesting? I don't know if you know this. The stats. First has dropped in this tournament one map, going 10-1 in the group stage, 3-0, 3-0, and he's in the finals.
Okay, who was it against?
He lost one map against Golden, if I remember correctly.
It was probably Verdi. No, hold on. It was Golden.
Oh, yeah.
Deserved.
Golden, very good player actually. Sad he did not make it out of the group, but
Yeah, it was
very tough tournament here.
Pretty surprised by that.
Such a crazy player field.
Interesting. Wow. I never knew First was so strong.
Yeah, I think First has been a little up and down recently. Sometimes he puts on very good performances playing similar to what we've seen here, and sometimes he drops out relatively early out of tournaments or the GSL, things like that.
Well, our next match, we have our first finalist, and our next match in our final semifinal will be between Dream and Parting.
MVP Dream.
MVP Dream. SK Telecom T1 Parting.
Ah, and we have the maps.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere in the building right now, Dream is sweating
Right there.
pretty heavily, and somewhere Parting's probably drinking. Because apparently that's what you do to be that good. We're going to take a short commercial break before our next game starts. We're going to quickly eat some food, go to the bathroom, do those kind of things, which are pretty important and been hard to do today because these games have been so fast we can't even get away for a second. Don't go anywhere, and if you do, come right back. Join us for the rest of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. See you soon.